Alright, so for my video essay, I will be doing a comparison of the Hunger Games, the film, to the original source material, the book. And I will be comparing and contrasting the adaptation to the source material, and I will talk about who the author of both the book and the film is. Right, so The Hunger Games is a science fiction young adult novel set in a dystopian society called Panem, which is built upon the remnants of the United States and Canada. In this world, there were 13 districts under the control of the governing center called the Capital at the center of Panem. When the districts revolted against the Capital, the rebellion was brutally put down, and as punishment, the Capital forced the districts to participate in a gladiator-like tournament called the Hunger Games, where each district is supposed to send in a child to fight to the death in a brutal winner-take-all match. Now, our story centers around Katniss Everdeen, played by Jennifer Lawrence in the film, and how she volunteers as a tribute when her sister is chosen to be the tribute or the volunteer for her district. The movie then chronicles her struggles and her fight for survival in the Hunger Games. Alright, so now the film for the most part follows the events that happen in the book, but there are some things that the book takes the time to explain that the movie just doesn't. Some of this isn't a big deal though. Like for instance, in the book, the mayor or the leader of Katniss District, which is District 12, before they call up the tributes and the volunteers, he takes the time to explain, why they're doing the Hunger Games because of this revolt that happened, some years ago, and he takes the time to explain this and gives a history of the Panem. In the film, this is just exposition that is shown in a quick intro, so it would save some runtime. However, there is some things that the book explains that the film, it's kind of hard for the film to show. For instance, in the book, Katniss and a fellow District 12 tribute named Peeta, they fake a romance to try to gain sympathy and get sponsorship, which would help give them supplies and aid during the tournament. In the book, it is pretty much explained in Katniss's head that this is just a strategy for her to survive and that she doesn't really have, feelings for this dude. But in the film, it's a bit harder. It's not really clear if she has feelings for him or not, or if this is just a strategy. It's kind of just, stale. Now, where I wanted to connect this with some of the readings that we've done, particularly the Truffaut reading, where he talks about how, when adapting, something to make a film from a source material, Truffaut talks about how there is this conception that some scenes are just unfilmable. They just can't do them, and he disagreed with that. And what he basically said was that, when adapting a film, from a book or something, is that he said films basically they're too faithful to the source material and they become just boring and just live actions of a book or something, and they just become boring, or they just don't stick to the magic, I guess, that happened in the book. And he put that mainly on the screenwriters and being lazy, I guess, for the screenwriter and the filmmaker. And so I guess what you could say then, if you're looking at it from Truffaut's point of view, is that these misconceptions or things that were in the book that were not clear in the film, that the book explains pretty well, I guess Truffaut would say that's on the screenwriter mainly and the filmmaker in their laziness for not making this clearer in terms of the book that the book did. So I guess what you could say then, in terms of comparing, authorship, is that I believe that Sontag's point of view is that each work of art should be examined individually. We're looking at it critically. So the book Hunger Games is different from the film Hunger Games, in that Suzanne Collins is the author of the book and the director is the author of the film. Whereas if you're looking at it from, I think, Truffaut's point of view, is that you have to look at the context and that it's all working in relation to each other. And so, yes, this is an adaptation from a book, but the director or the filmmaker is putting his own vision and making it into his own form of art. and that's the difference between those two. But me personally, I would say in terms of authorship, while I do agree that the director or the filmmaker has input and is obviously bringing this adaptation to life, I believe, and he has his own touches, and he's making his own decisions on how the film should look. I still believe that authorship of the film, and even you can even say the screenwriter has a hand in this, because obviously the screenwriter is translating the book to a script which the director then uses. But I would say that comparing the book to the film, I would still say that the authorship should go to the original source material, because without the source material, without the Hunger Games book, there would be no Hunger Games movie. So that's my opinion, and that's my video essay.